Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive.
Always.
Today, we're tackling Pokemon Go.
Oh, wow.
But not the usual catching 'em all stuff.
Oh, okay.
This is about the stuff nobody really saw coming.
The unintended consequences.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're talking car accidents, even deaths linked to this game.
Yeah, it's pretty sobering stuff.
You sent over some wild research, like that Death by Pokemon Go study. Yikes.
Yeah, that one's really eye-opening.
And we've got this Vice article, too, about the pandemic's effect on the game itself.
Things got pretty interesting when everyone was stuck at home.
You said it. So, expert speaker, ready to untangle this mess.
Let's do it.
All right. Now, Pokemon Go was massive, but just in case, set the scene for us. What was the big deal?
Okay, so picture this. 2016, right? Your phone, it's not just a phone anymore.
It's like your whole world suddenly.
Yeah. Augmented reality hits the mainstream and boom, Pokemon are hiding everywhere.
Hiding in plain sight. I remember that.
People were glued to their screens, walking around like zombies, but happy zombies.
Parks were jammed, strangers high-fiving over some digital monster. It was nuts.
Total social phenomena.
Exactly. And that's where the trouble starts, right?
Yeah, all that excitement, it kind of blinded people to, well, reality.
Like that study focusing on Tippecanoe County. Why there?
They used it as a sort of natural experiment. See, the game's release, that's a measurable change.
Like a before and after snapshot.
Exactly. They zeroed in on Pokestops, those Pokemon hotspots.
So more players, more chaos. That was their thinking.
Basically. They wanted to see if those hotspots became accident hotspots, too.
What did they find?
Brace yourself. After Pokemon Go launched, car accidents near those Pokestops, they shot up by 47%.
47. That's huge.
It is. We're talking 134 more crashes than usual in just 148 days.
Okay, so something's definitely up. But couldn't that just be, more people out and about in general?
That's the million-dollar question, right? Correlation doesn't equal causation.
Exactly.
But these researchers, they were smart about it. They compared Pokestops to what they called gyms in the game.
Gyms. Okay, remind me.
Gyms, you got to be in one spot to play at them. No driving and battling.
Good point.
And guess what? Accidents near gyms. Way less of a jump.
So it's not just about more people being outside. It's about...
being distracted by the game, specifically while driving.
That's a really strong point. Like, they controlled for other factors.
Right. They weren't just throwing darts in the dark.
So it seems like there's a real link here. Pokemon Go, driving, accidents.
A link with some very real consequences, unfortunately. Yeah, not just fender benders either.
This is where it gets really, really heavy.
Yeah, the human cost. The study links 2 deaths in that county during the study period to the game.
2 deaths just from...
People playing while driving, yeah.
It's easy to forget there are real lives behind those statistics.
Absolutely. And the study even put a dollar amount on it, which is always a little...
Oh, right. Like a way to quantify it?
Yeah, they estimated $3.76 million in lost lifetime income.
Wow, from those 2 deaths alone. That's...
It's sobering, isn't it? It makes you think about the wider impact.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How many more accidents, how many injuries, maybe not even fatal, but still.
It's hard to say for sure. The researchers were careful. They didn't claim every accident near a Pokestop was because of the game.
Right, there are always other factors.
Sure, but they did a lot to rule things out.
Like what? What else did they look at?
Well, they analyzed traffic patterns around the Pokestops, for one.
So seeing if there was already a trend, even before the game.
Right, and they looked at whether the accidents were mostly during the day when more people would be playing.
Smart. Trying to isolate the game's effect.
Yeah, and they compared Tippecanoe County's data to national trends, too.
So was it just a bad time for driving in general? And it turned out...
It wasn't. That's what's so striking. They really do make a strong case that Pokemon Go was the main driver. No pun intended.
Wow. Okay, so we've got this game causing real harm, and then pandemic hits. Talk about a curveball.
Right. Suddenly everyone's supposed to stay home, but this game's all about going outside.
Did they just, pause the game? Wait it out?
No, they did something way more interesting, actually. Niantic, the company behind it, they adapted.
Adapted how?
They made it easier to play from home, that's how. They made it so you didn't have to be right on top of Pokestops or gyms.
So you weren't forced to go out just to play?
Exactly. They even made it easier to hatch those Pokemon eggs, which usually need you to, walk around.
Huh. It's like they accidentally made a safer version of their own game.
Kind of ironic, isn't it? This thing meant to get you moving, suddenly keeping you on the couch.
But way less likely to cause a car crash from your couch, that's for sure. Did that actually make a difference, though? I mean, fewer people driving in general, that probably helped too, right? Not just the game changes themselves.
Yeah, for sure. It's hard to tease apart how much each factor contributed.
The perfect storm of, like, safer game design and just nobody on the roads to begin with.
Right. But it does make you wonder, what were Niantic's motivations? Pure altruism? Or was there some business savvy in there too?
Yeah, like, were they just being good guys, or was it also good business to, keep people playing, even if it meant changing everything?
Probably a bit of both, to be honest. I mean, they had to be aware of the risks, right? Their game's literally sending people out into the world.
Yeah, during a pandemic. That's
Exactly. So they had a responsibility there for sure. But they're also a business.
right, a big one. And Pokemon Go was,
Huge. They weren't going to just shut it all down.
so they pivoted. And honestly, maybe that's a lesson for other game developers too. Like, you can make a fun game that doesn't require.
Risking your life. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Imagine if that was like the design philosophy going forward: engagement, sure, but not at the cost of.
Of people's well-being, yeah.
This whole thing really shows tech itself isn't good or bad. It's how we.
How we use it, how we design it, absolutely. And sometimes it takes something huge like a pandemic to make us rethink everything.
A global wake-up call.
Hmm.
It's a good reminder. Our digital lives, they are ties to the real world in ways we don't even.
And sometimes those connections, they have a very real cost.
Yeah. But this Pokemon Go thing, it also shows we can adapt, we can learn from mistakes, and make tech work better.
Make it work for us, not against us.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this Pokemon Go deep dive, what's the one thing you hope sticks with our listeners?
I think it's this. Technology, it's powerful, right? And that power comes with responsibility. We've got to think about the consequences of what we create, whether it's a game or something else entirely. Because sometimes those consequences, they're bigger than we can even imagine.
Truer words have never been spoken. Expert speaker, thank you so much for joining us for this eye-opening look at Pokemon Go. And to our listeners, thanks for diving in with us. Until next time, stay curious.